Hello everyone and welcome to PSA Today. Let's talk Youth Day, where we're celebrating you, the change makers, dreamers and future leaders. Today we're diving into everything Youth Day stands for and how each of us can make an impact. Joining us are two rising leaders and passionate PSA employees, Gino Singh and Sibusiso Nzala. Sibusiso, can you share your journey into public service and what inspired you to take this path?
Morning, Angelica, and the viewers at large of the PSA. Look, Angel, I actually joined the public sector when I was 23 years old. And what had happened is that I saw a lot of individuals that are involved in the unions being the elderly people. And then the inspiration comes from me having a question that, okay, if these people now are living as shop stewards, do the unions have to die itself? Then that's when I actually took it upon myself. And obviously, I was elected as a shop steward, went through the ranks of the PSA on being part of the branches of the PSA itself, and till to where I am actually today. But the inspiration behind was from me seeing that there is no youth individuals that are actually interested in taking part into the union industry or into protecting workers' rights and promoting their interests.
Gino?
Yeah, morning, Angelica, Spoo, and to the viewers. Look, both my parents were teachers, so from a very young age, they instilled the purpose of service to the community. I actually started my community service whilst in Matric, doing life saving at Espingo Beach in KwaZulu-Natal. My first employment was with the South African Police Service as a constable. I thereafter moved to the Independent Complaints Directorate, investigating criminal cases against members of the South African Police Service and and Metro Police. In 2012, I was employed by the Public Protector as a senior investigator. So, looking at 23 years of investigation experience. In 2016, I started a service of a different kind. I joined the PSA as a shop steward, and I've been serving the employees and the members ever since. Thank you.
Do you know one of the biggest challenges that we see today in public service is the mismatch between available skills and what's actually needed? From your experience, where do you see the most critical skills gap?
Yeah, look, currently at the moment, if you look across the various government platforms, and if you look at the age gap or the age stats, you see that there's a lack of digital literacy and the inability to use the fourth industrial revolution tools such as AI, data analytics, cloud-based platforms. Hopefully, with the young public servants entering the government space, we are hoping that they will be in this ability to use these tools and also to teach the older generation or mentor them on how to use these platforms to improve our service delivery. Thank you.
Sibusiso, what kinds of training do you think are most needed for young public servants?
Yeah, no, if you look at the young public servants in the public sector, there is lack of skills in terms of your artisan training, your intense, trainings with the doctors in terms of them having the critical skills that are needed in the public sector, in such a way that people have to now, the government have to rely on outsourcing services for the people's lives to actually be saved. So if the government can really then, direct more funds into the development of the staff in terms of these critical skills, like your finances as well. The finance department, that is one of the most important aspects in the public sector, where you need people who can manage the finances in the department itself. So, yeah. So from my point of view, I think those are the most needed, skills in the public sector, which the government should be investing on for the betterment of the public sector itself.
How can PSA and government departments work together to align training and education with public service needs?
All right. From that point of view, in fact, what is happening now, it's even good that PSA is one of the leading unions when it comes to identifying the gaps in the public service. To make an example, we always issue out media statements, to say these are the things that need to be fixed in the public service itself. So the only thing that we would ask from the government is to listen to what the unions are saying in terms of the gaps that are needed there, and to work together with the unions so that we can have a better public sector as a whole.
Gino, what can be done to increase youth employment and internship opportunities?
Look, that's an interesting question because we are well aware of the budgetary constraints that government currently has, and the lack of them not filling in posts and critical posts. However, I must state that Sasita and the various SITAs are doing an excellent job by providing internship to young graduates. And this is all across the government departments. And you would note that 80% of the time or 90% of the time when there are vacancies, these interns are then absorbed into the various government departments, which is good. And these graduates are also getting in that practical and institutional knowledge. So, in my opinion, what can assist versus the budgetary constraints is maybe for government to foster more private-public partnerships with big business, get business to sponsor or provide funds for more internships and apprenticeships that we can utilize so that we can give these young graduates exposure to their working experience, and hopefully then when there are vacancies, the various government departments can absorb these graduates. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any PSA-led programs or campaigns that you feel made a significant impact on youth inclusion?
Well, interestingly enough, this is one of them, the podcast. This is our venture into the social media space. I see on YouTube it is getting quite a nice following. We've also created other platforms on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and we've noticed that we are getting growth every month. We are reaching out to the younger generation because these are the platforms that they use. We've created a PSA app now, which is very interesting. It has a lot of functions on it where members can check their verified membership numbers, look at the gear that PSA is selling. So I think we are heading in the right space. One of the largest, biggest growing non-political unions in South Africa. Our membership is sitting at now at a 250,000. So our next space is now to attract the young graduates coming in, and these are the methods that we are utilizing to attract them. In fact, we are waiting for you to do a TikTok video in your PSA outfit so that we can post it as well. Thank you.
So young people are not only employees, they're also defenders of democracy and workers' rights. How do you see the role of young people in shaping the future of a trade union like PSA?
Look, as young people, if we can really invest a lot in education, in educating ourselves, in such things like your Labor Relations Act, and other labor laws itself, we could be able to then, repeat what has actually been done in 1976 by the youth itself. In fact, improve on what has been done since then till now in terms of that, so that we can actually empower the unions in the workspace itself. So what I can say is that if we as young individuals then invest more on us knowing better in terms of the unions, because unions are not only for the old people. In fact, we should be more involved as the youth so that we can actually prolong, the livelihood of the unions in the public sector itself, so that unions do not die after the generation that is ahead us actually leaves the public sector itself.
And then lastly, what message do you have for young South Africans about their power to defend democracy and labor rights?
I think right now it is time really that young individuals involve themselves more into, getting the knowledge, even if people are not interested per se to the field of labor, but to invest in their education, actually, in relation to the labor laws and so forth, will assist them to be empowered so that they can defend their rights and protect their interests itself. Because if you look now, the young individuals, a lot of them are not interested in the unions. Even when we have to elect the shop stewards, people are being reluctant. And the question is, who will then be able to defend workers' rights if people are being reluctant? So the message I have for them is that please let's involve ourselves more into education, educating ourselves in relation to the rights that we have as workers, as young individuals, and the interests that we can actually then push in the public sector. So thank you.
Gino, any last words from your side?
No, look, to echo Spoo's comments, our fathers and mothers fought hard for our democracy. So let us hold our leaders accountable. And as Spoo says, as PSA members within our own space, let us get more involved.
That's it for today's Youth Day podcast. Remember, this is your time, your voice, your vision, your future. Keep pushing, keep dreaming, and keep making an impact. Thanks for tuning in. Let's keep the conversation going on our social media channels. Until next time, take action and let the world know what you're about.